In the previous session, I talked about the general aspects of regulation and also allostatic type of regulation. And now, in this session, I will be focusing on hormonal regulation. In the hormonal regulation, I will be talking about glucagon, insulin, epinephrine, and also insulin. These three aspects I will be talking about. Also, at the end, I will be talking about how the glucose is regulating it. Before going into the hormonal regulation, first, I would like to talk about one particular enzyme which plays very much crucial role in the hormonal regulation. That enzyme is called protein kinase. That enzyme is protein kinase. The protein kinase is present both active form and inactive form. Both in active form and inactive form. This is the inactive form. Here, two regulatory units are present and two catalytic units are present. There are two catalytic units, two regulatory units. Suppose when you say the protein kinase, how it is acting it. Here, the various hormones, when you talk about the hormones like glucagon and epinephrine, when bind at the receptors, so they activate the process that cyclic AMP will be acting on this one. Once the cyclic AMP will be acting on this one, then what happens? The catalytic units are separated. The catalytic units are separated from the regulatory units. The regulatory units, catalytic units are separated. So, in that condition, what happens? Here, it is inactive enzyme, the protein kinase, and this becomes active enzyme. So, these are regulatory units. Once the regulatory units, they are removed, so the enzyme becomes active. Okay. Then, can this enzyme be inactive again? Yes. How it is possible? Here, the enzyme is inactivated by phosphodiesterase. Phosphodiesterase enzyme. The phosphodiesterase enzyme will be converting cyclic AMP, to the 5' AMP. Because of that effect, when cyclic AMP is not there, so what will happen? The active enzyme becomes inactive enzyme. Okay, this is about the protein kinase, so which has got a lot of role in this one. Now, I will talk about the action of, first I will take up action of glucagon, and epinephrine. Epinephrine. So these two I will talk about. Then let us see. I will just write in the liver and muscle. In the liver and muscle. This is the one we have here. Then this is the one. So what happens here? So one is beta adrenergic receptors, where epinephrine binds it. Adrenergic receptor. This is the one, and it is glucagon. Receptor. What happens here? See, here I can say one is beta adrenergic receptor, and this is the one which is, we say, this is the one, beta adrenergic receptor, and this is the glucagon receptor. In this condition, what happens here? What happens? Because of these both, they have the role. What happens? So, activate protein kinase. Earlier we have studied about protein kinase. So, by the action of producing cyclic AMP, activate protein kinase. Once the protein kinase is activated, then what will happen? There will be increase in glycogen degradation by activating the enzymes of glycogenolysis process. Okay, is it clear? This is the how it happens. Let me explain the scenario in the liver. The scenario in the liver. Again, I am writing the beta adrenergic receptors, and then next one is insulin receptors. Here, this is beta adrenergic receptor. Okay, receptor. So where epinephrine binds it, and this is insulin receptor. So these two I am writing here in a different scenario in the liver. Here again I will mark it with this beta adrenergic receptor like this. Okay. Then what happens here? This one activates protein kinase. The protein kinase which we have studied earlier, how it is activated, the protein kinase. Once the protein kinase is activated, then what will happen? It will have a negative effect. On the insulin receptors. Inactivation of the insulin receptor is taking place. So that leads to the decrease in glycogen synthase activity or decreases glycogen synthesis. Okay, by inactivating the enzyme of glycogen synthesis. So this is about the how these various hormones they are acting it. And the next one is let us see overall effect on enzymes of glycogen synthesis and glycogen degradation. Let me see. First, I'll talk in terms of epinephrine and glucagon. Here, in this, I am writing epinephrine. Okay, and the second one is here, a box, I will write it here. Then glucagon. Okay, another box, I am putting it here. These two enzymes, these two hormones having the positive role and making ACT2 protein kinase. Okay, ACT2 protein kinase. Then what happens when ACT2 protein kinase is there? We have the glycogen synthase enzyme. Synthase enzyme. So this ACT2 form we call it A. Glycogen synthase A. Okay, it is ACT2. Then what happens here? What happens? The glycogen synthase, which is ACT2, it becomes inactive. Here it is inactive glycogen synthase. It is called B. And this one is a phosphate group is added. By what? ATP is converted to ADP. Which one catalyzes this reaction? ACT2 protein kinase. What is the ultimate result? When glycogen synthase is inactive, it becomes inactive, then what happens? There is decreased glycogen synthesis. Okay, decreased glycogen synthesis is taking place. Here, there is increased glycogen synthesis. If it is active, that is increased glycogen synthesis. So we have seen what happens if it is active and what happens if it is inactive. Glycogen synthase enzyme, if it is dephosphorylated, that means if there is no phosphate is attached, that is active. If phosphate group is attached, that is inactive. The active protein kinase making the phosphorylation of glycogen synthase and making it inactive, that is indirectly controlled by the epinephrine and glucagon. Okay, next, what happens on the glycogen degradation? Let us see the enzymes which of glycogen degradation. Two enzymes in the regulatory pathway. Okay, phosphorylase kinase. It is this enzyme is, we can say B. Phosphorylase kinase, this enzyme is B enzyme. Here, this enzyme, when I make it like this is inactive enzyme. This is inactive enzyme, and this enzyme is converted to active. Phosphorylase kinase A. Phosphorylase kinase A, that is active enzyme. That is active enzyme. So it is A, where it has got phosphate group. This is active enzyme. Okay, active enzyme. Then what happens? What is the role of this phosphorylase kinase? Then again, I will talk about the glycogen phosphorylase, the main enzyme. Glycogen phosphorylase. Okay, phosphorylase, that is inactive enzyme. That is what we say B. It is inactive enzyme. It is called inactive. Okay. Then what happens? Once it is inactive, then here this is converted to active form. This is converted to active form. We can say glycogen phosphorylase enzyme, the main enzyme of this one, it is A. Okay, this is active enzyme having phosphate group. It is active enzyme. Who does it to inactive to active? This active phosphorylase kinase with the help of ATP to ADP. Phosphorylation is taking place. That means if phosphate is added, in that condition, the enzymes of degradative pathways will be active. If the phosphate is added, the enzymes of synthetic pathway glycogen synthase becomes inactive. Okay, so that is the one aspect. The next one is action of insulin. Here, action of insulin. Let us see how it happens. Then we say again, I will write about insulin. This is the insulin hormone, which decreases the glucose levels, controls glucose levels. This enzyme activates protein phosphatase. It is called protein phosphatase, another enzyme, protein phosphatase enzyme. Okay, insulin has got protein phosphatase enzyme. Okay, one protein phosphatase, one enzyme. What is the action of protein phosphatase? Let us see on both glycogen degradation and also glycogen breakdown. So let us see here what happens here. Again, I am writing glycogen synthase enzyme. Glycogen synthase enzyme. Okay, so here it is B. This is the enzyme. It is inactive. It is inactive. Then this enzyme becomes active. This enzyme becomes active. So I can say glycogen synthase A. Synthase A. So it is active. Who does it? This one, the protein phosphatase. Here what happens? The phosphate is removed. Phosphate is removed. It has the phosphate group. It has got the phosphate group. The phosphate is removed. So in this condition, glycogen synthase active, and so it causes the increase in synthesis. Okay, it increases synthesis. That is the one aspect, increase in synthesis. Now, what will be the action of the protein phosphatase? Let us see again the phosphorylase kinase. Phosphorylase kinase, that is another enzyme, that is the enzyme of degradative pathway. This enzyme is active, having phosphate. Okay, so this enzyme is active. This enzyme is active. Then what happens? This enzyme is converted to the inactive form. This enzyme is converted to the inactive form. So what happens here? Again, phosphorylase kinase. Okay, phosphorylase kinase. Okay, kinase. It is inactive. There is no phosphate group here. There is no phosphate group here. So what happens? The protein phosphatase acting here. So by removing the phosphate group, H2O and phosphate group is removed. If phosphorylase kinase is inactive, what will happen here? Here it is, suppose if we have the glycogen phosphorylase, here this is the glycogen phosphorylase enzyme, that is the main enzyme. It is active because it contains a phosphate group. So this becomes inactive if, and in this case, if phosphate group is removed. So here glycogen phosphorylase, okay, phosphorylase. So that is inactive. This is inactive enzyme. Who does it? It is done by the protein phosphatase. What happens? The protein phosphatase, I will write here, it is causing this one. It is causing this one, and the H2O is inorganic phosphate. So in this condition, what happens? The degradation is decreased. Okay. This is about the action of insulin and the protein phosphatase. Now, additionally, I would like to discuss about the combined role of hormones here, which I would like to discuss about combined role of hormones and calcium. Let us see how it happens. Very interesting. Hormones and calcium. Okay. On what enzyme? On phosphorylase kinase. What is phosphorylase kinase? Phosphorylase kinase is one important enzyme of glycogen degradation. Okay. So calcium we talked about in the allosteric one. Now let us see. Okay. The phosphorylase kinase. Okay. Let us see here what happens. This enzyme has got 4 units. Okay. The enzyme which has got 4 units, this enzyme is suppose inactive. This 4 units. What are those 4 units? This is alpha, beta, gamma, delta. This is inactive phosphorylase kinase. Okay. Phosphorylase kinase. Then what happens? Once this inactive phosphorylase kinase, so by the action of protein kinase, we say pKa, protein kinase active by the action of hormones, then what will happen? This enzyme will become, partially active. Why it becomes partially active? Because it is phosphorylated. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Where it is phosphorylated? At beta subunit. It is phosphorylated. So it is, we say, partially active. It is not completely active. It is partially active. Okay. If there is calcium is added without protein kinase, let us see that also. If the phosphate is added, if calcium is added without protein kinase, then let us see. Again, this is partially active. This enzyme is partially active. Why it is partially active? Because we say alpha, beta, gamma, delta. So at the delta, there is a calcium 2+. Binding is taking place. Either because of protein kinase, phosphorylation, partially active, or with the calcium addition, it is partially active. Not fully active. Remember that one. Partially active. Okay. So then how it can be fully active? This is fully active. This is the one, complete fully active. See how interesting this particular reaction, how the coordination is taking place in the regulation, how the coordination is taking place in the regulation, alpha, beta, okay, gamma and delta. Okay, gamma and delta. Then here phosphate is added. Okay, calcium is added. When both are added, it is fully active. You can see here the calcium role here. Okay, then okay, fully active. Fully active. Now this one you can see it becomes, let us see, it becomes, here it is. How it is fully active? How it is fully active. See the one, how it is taking place. How the partially active, and fully active phosphorylase kinase. Once the phosphorylase kinase is fully active, what it does? It causes inactive phosphorylase to active phosphorylase. Inactive glycogen phosphorylase, okay, to active phosphorylase. Here, this is the B enzyme. Okay, this becomes active phosphorylase. So glycogen degradation increases. Ylase. Okay, that is A. Then glycogen degradation increases. Okay, then it is degradation is increased. So what happens? This one will be acting here, and ATP is converted to ADP. Phosphorylation has taken place. Okay, that is the another one. How interesting this regulation is. Okay, let us see. Now, finally, I will talk about the role of increased glucose. So how it happens? Okay, increased glucose. So what will happen here? Here, just I will write in another page role of increased glucose. Okay, increased glucose. Okay, then what will happen here? So there is glucose here. It is like glucose. There is increased glucose. So when there is increased glucose is increased. Then what happens here? Initially, what is happening? There is, in low glucose, what happens? There is a combination of glycogen phosphorylase. Okay, phosphorylase enzyme. Glycogen phosphorylase enzyme. This enzyme is active. But simultaneously it is attached with protein phosphatase. This is the enzyme, protein phosphatase. This one is inactive. Okay, what happens? The protein phosphatase makes the glycogen phosphorylase inactive, but glycogen phosphorylase does not leave the protein phosphatase, making it inactive form. That means glycogen phosphorylase is keeping its enemy with it without leaving it, so that it cannot do any harm. Okay, then what will there? If glucose is increased, so what does glucose do? Glucose, it releases protein phosphatase. It releases the protein phosphatase. It is releasing the protein phosphatase. See how interesting it is. Glucose is liberating the protein phosphatase 1. So once it is released from the glycogen phosphorylase, it becomes active. Once it becomes active, then what will happen? The protein phosphatase, the first one is, it makes glycogen synthase active. Okay, active. The B form is inactive. And this is the inactive glycogen synthase. Phosphate is present. Then by the action of protein phosphatase, what it does? It removes the phosphate, and phosphate is released, and glycogen synthase active. Okay, active. Okay, it is active. So glycogen synthesis will increase. Then what will be the effect of protein phosphatase on glycogen phosphorylase? Let us see here. glycogen phosphorylase. The glycogen phosphorylase, it is glycogen phosphorylase. Okay, phosphorylase. It is active. Why it is active? There is a phosphate group is present. It becomes inactive. It becomes inactive. So, by the effect of glycogen, that is the protein phosphatase, then glycogen phosphorylase, dephosphorylated phosphate group is removed. So, it becomes converted into B form, that is inactive. Who does it? The protein phosphatase. How it does it? It removes the phosphate group. It removes the phosphate group. Then this is active one becomes inactive one. So glycogen degradation is decreased. So no more glucose is released. This is about the various aspects of hormonal control. The second part of this regulation is hormonal regulation and also regulation by the glucose. The objectives we set for this session. At the end of this session, the student shall be able to know about the various aspects of hormonal regulation and regulation by glucose. As far as the hormones are concerned, we talked about the glucagon and epinephrine and also insulin. Okay, then, so first we took up protein kinase. So how the protein kinase is activated? Hormones bind at the receptors and activate adenylate cyclase. Activate adenylate cyclase enzyme. The adenylate cyclase enzyme will act on ATP and converting it into cyclic AMP. So protein kinase initially present in inactive state because there are two catalytic units are there and two regulatory units are there. The regulatory units are attached to the catalytic units. By the action of the cyclic AMP, what will happen? Catalytic units are separated from the regulatory units. So inactive protein kinase becomes active protein kinase and regulatory units, they come out. Again, this active enzyme can become inactive by the action of enzyme phosphodiesterase. This phosphodiesterase will convert cyclic AMP into 5' AMP. So that again regulatory units and catalytic units, they come together, leads to inactive enzyme. So let us see the action of glucagon and epinephrine. So we took up the liver and muscle. Their beta adrenergic receptors are there and glucagon receptors are present. Then what happens? So these hormones, because of this hormones role, so protein kinase is activated. The protein kinase, once it is activated, glycogen degradation will increase. Let us see in the liver, the beta adrenergic receptors and also insulin receptors. This beta adrenergic receptors activates protein kinase and this protein kinase will have the negative aspect on insulin receptor so that glycogen synthesis is decreased. Okay, then the next one is, so when you talk about the individual role of epinephrine and glucagon, so glycogen synthase active, because of these hormones activity, protein kinase is activated. The protein kinase phosphorylates the glycogen synthase. The active glycogen synthase is dephosphorylated, but because of the protein kinase, so with the help of the ATP converted to ADP, glycogen synthase is phosphorylated, becomes inactive, leads to decrease in glycogen synthesis. Then okay, the same protein kinase enzyme, so can phosphorylate phosphorylase kinase. So dephosphorylated phosphorylase kinase is inactive. Once it is phosphorylated, becomes phosphorylase kinase A. The phosphorylation has taken place. It becomes active. Okay, this phosphorylase kinase, once it is active, so it converts inactive glycogen phosphorylase, that is a dephosphorylated form, and with the help of the ATP is converting into ADP. So glycogen phosphorylase A active form, that is phosphorylated. See, you can see here, phosphorylation is making glycogen synthase inactive and phosphorylation is making phosphorylase kinase active and the glycogen phosphorylase active. So that means, so phosphorylation of the enzymes decreasing the glycogen synthesis and the enzymes which are involved in the glycogen degradation, phosphorylation is making them active, so the glycogen degradation increases. Let us see what is the role of action of insulin. Insulin will have the opposite action of glucagon and epinephrine. So as you know, glycogen synthase being phosphorylated becomes inactive. So insulin, what happens? So activating the protein phosphatase through the hydrolysis process, phosphate is removed and glycogen synthase A forms dephosphorylated, that becomes active. Okay. The same protein phosphatase removes the phosphate from the phosphorylase kinase, making active phosphorylase kinase into inactive phosphorylase kinase. The same protein phosphatase removes the phosphate from the glycogen phosphorylase, making active phosphorylase. So removes the phosphate from the glycogen phosphorylase, converting the active glycogen phosphorylase into inactive glycogen phosphorylase, which is dephosphorylated. Okay, then degradation will decrease. Then let us see the combined role of hormones and calcium on phosphorylase kinase. So inactive phosphorylase, when you talk about the inactive phosphorylase kinase is here. 4 subunits are present. 4 subunits are present. Here delta subunits acts as calcium binding protein calmodulin and beta subunit where phosphorylation is taking place. Let us see how the phosphorylation brings the changes into this inactive phosphorylase kinase. So hormones, protein kinase active, it makes the phosphorylation. So once the phosphorylation is taking place, this enzyme is not completely active but partially active. Then here let us see, without the phosphorylation, this enzyme can be active to some extent. Yes, in the presence of calcium. What happens? The delta subunit calcium binding takes place. It is partially active. Suppose if both calcium and this protein kinase in active form is present, what happens? Both phosphorylation takes place, calcium binding takes place, phosphate is binding to the beta subunit and calcium 2 plus binding to the delta subunit, it becomes fully active. So that means if calcium alone makes this enzyme partially active, phosphorylation alone can make the enzyme partially active. If both are present, the combinedly they can make this enzyme active. Okay, that is the one very important aspect. So what happens? This phosphorylase kinase, once it is active, it makes inactive phosphorylase to the active phosphorylase. So glycogen degradation will increase. This is about this aspect of the glycogen. Next one is, we talk about role of glucose. What is the role of glucose? So here, what happens? In the absence of glucose, when you talk about in the absence of glucose, so what happens here? In the absence of glucose, the glycogen phosphorylase and combines with protein phosphatase. Okay, so glycogen phosphorylase is active, there is a phosphate is present, but protein phosphatase is inactive. So that means glycogen phosphorylase, when it is active, it is keeping the protein phosphatase in its binding so that the protein phosphatase cannot remove the phosphate. That means the glycogen phosphorylase is keeping the enemy, that is protein phosphatase, to its close proximity, to its associated with it, so that the protein phosphatase cannot do any harm to it. But when glucose levels are increased, so glucose will have the positive aspect. When glucose levels are increased, glycogen degradation should be stopped. So how the glycogen degradation will be stopped? So by making glycogen phosphorylase inactive. Who can make this glycogen phosphorylase inactive? Protein phosphatase. How? By removing the phosphate. So what happens here? Because in the increased glucose levels, the protein phosphatase is separated, that becomes active. Once it is separated, then what will happen? Once it becomes active, it by the hydrolytic removal of the phosphate from this glycogen synthase. So glycogen synthase, so what it does, it causes the removal of phosphate and making the glycogen synthase active. That is one aspect. Okay, then glycogen synthesis will increase. The protein phosphatase will also make the glycogen phosphorylase inactive. So glycogen phosphorylase, when it is associated with the protein phosphatase, it is active, it is phosphorylated. But protein phosphatase, when it is separated, it removes the phosphate from this glycogen phosphorylase, making the inactive glycogen phosphorylase to the active glycogen phosphorylase to the inactive glycogen phosphorylase. So this is about the various aspects of hormonal regulation, combined effect of calcium and also phosphorylation and increased levels of glucose, how glycogen synthase becomes active, glycogen phosphorylase becomes inactive. Okay, thank you. With this, we have completed all the aspects of glycogen metabolism, including glycogen synthesis, glycogen degradation, allosteric regulation, and hormonal regulation. Okay, thank you.